So next we're going to review the cosine law. The cosine law states that in any triangle ABC, that c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine of angle C. Or we can use a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine angle A. Or we can use b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine of angle B. How do you know which one to use? It all depends on the angle. If you know angle C, then you're going to use the one that starts with c squared and has angle C in it. If you're looking for angle C, then you're still going to use the one that has cosine C in it and starts with side C. And same with the other two. If you know angle A or you need to find angle A, we'll use the one that starts with a squared. And if you know angle B or need to find angle B, then you'll start with the one that has b squared attached to it. So we'll start off by using the cosine law to find a side length. So for example 1, it says solve for the indicated side. And it doesn't have an indicated side, so we're looking for this side right here. Notice we don't have a known side across a known angle, so this is the case where we cannot use the sine law. So this is why we need the cosine law. So same as our other lessons, we start by labeling our diagram. We state an equation, and then we solve. So let's label our diagram A, B, C. We know side A, we know side C, and we want to solve for side B. And in this example, we only have one angle, and that is angle B. So since we only have one angle and it's angle B, we need to start with this formula here. So again, b squared equals a squared plus c squared, almost looks like Pythagorean's theorem, minus 2ac cosine of angle B. And we choose this one because we have angle B, and that's the only formula that has angle B in it of those three. Next we sub in our values. So b squared, that becomes x squared. The a becomes 13, the c becomes 25, minus the 2 times 13 times 25, and then cosine of angle B, which is 105. Next step is to use your calculator to evaluate the right side of this equation. So I end up getting that x squared is approximately equal to 962.23 units squared. But remember, we're looking for x, so the last step is to square root both sides of this equation. And again, using your calculator, we'll get that x is approximately equal to 31.0 centimeters. And that is how you find a side length using the cosine law. So again, for a second example, you can pause the video, try this yourself, and then come back and check your answer. So first step, let's label the graph. So for this example, since we have angle A, I'm going to use the version of the cosine law that starts with a squared. So we have a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine of angle A. So next is to sub in our values. So a is x, so we get x squared equals b is 1, so we get 1 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 1 times 3 times cosine of 65 degrees. Using our calculator, we get that x squared is approximately equal to 7.464. Take as many decimal places as you can. And then we're going to square root both sides to get our approximate value for the length of side x. So we get x is approximately equal to 2.7 centimeters. So there are two examples on how to use the cosine law to find the third side length. The next example, we're going to use the cosine law to help us find an angle. So notice I've highlighted the angle in these examples. First step is to label. So let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C. So that means this is side A, this is side C, this is side B. Since we are looking for angle A, I'm going to start with the version of the cosine law that begins with A. So A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine of angle A. This time we only have the side lengths, so if we sub them in, we get 650 squared equals 750 squared plus 500 squared minus 2 times 750 times 500 cosine of angle A. So notice our unknown is now on the right side of the equation. This one involves a few more steps. So I end up with 422,500 is equal to, next I'm going to add these two together. So that is 812,500. And then the last part, notice this has a cosine A attached to it, so I can't put it with the first set of numbers here because of the cosine A. So I do 2 times 750 times 500, and I get 750,000. So I get minus 750,000 cosine A's. But I still need to get the cosine A by itself. So the first step to do that is to get rid of the 812,500 from both sides of the equation. And for this example, it gives me negative 390,000 on the left side when I subtract 812,500 equals negative 750,000 cosine A's. Again, I still need to get cosine A by itself. So since we have negative 750,000 times cosine A, I'm going to divide out these 750,000 on both sides. And notice it's negative, so divide by a negative. And since we have a negative divided by a negative, we should end up with a positive cosine ratio. So we'll get cosine A is equal to 0.52. Exactly, 0.52. All right, that is just the ratio. Again, this question is looking for an angle. So to undo that cosine from the A, and to get angle A, we have to do the cos inverse, or the cos minus 1 of 0.52. And if we do that, we end up getting that angle A is approximately equal to 58.7 degrees. So finding the angle using the cosine law is a little bit more challenging. However, we do need it for this example because notice this triangle has no angles. It only has 3 sides. So the only law that will work for us is the cosine law. So here's the second example. If you want to try it yourself, pause the video, then come back and check your work. So again, first let's label our diagram. So A, B, and C. So this is side A, this is side C, this is side B. Since I'm looking for angle A, I'm going to start with the version that has angle A in it. So that's the A squared version of the cosine law. Next, I sub in my values. Then I solve for these squares. So I have 49 here. I'm going to put these two together. So that's 64 plus 25. So that gives me 89. And then 8 times 5 is 40. So this is minus 80 cosine of A. Those three numbers multiplied together give me negative 80. Similar to above, We're going to get rid of the 89 on the right side by minusing 89 from both sides of the equation. So I end up with negative 40 equals negative 80 cosine of angle A. That says negative 80 times cosine of angle A, so the opposite thing is to divide. And I end up with 0.5 is equal to cosine of angle A. Last step, to find angle A, I'm going to do the cos inverse of 0.5. And here I get an exact angle of 60 degrees. So this is a way to find the angle in a triangle when you're given 3 sides and no angles, using the cosine law. One note, when you're solving for this part here, the ratio, if you have a decimal that does not terminate or is not an exact decimal, please carry at least 4 decimal places to get an accurate measurement for the angle. So when should we use the cosine law? First thing, when we have a non-right triangle. Second thing, when we have 2 side lengths and the angle of measure between them. So that's this example here. We have 2 side lengths and an angle between them. Or when we have all side lengths. So 1, 2, 3 side lengths. In the first picture, that'll help us find this angle here if we want, or any other angle. And in the second picture, it'll help us find this side here. Here are 5 questions to try from your textbook, and good luck.